Artificial intelligence. You hear that term everywhere these days, right? It's used to describe everything from the camera on your phone to some kind of sci-fi robot overlord. And honestly, the jargon can get super confusing super fast. So today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to build a crystal clear picture of what AI really is, how it's being used, and maybe most importantly, where this whole thing is headed. Okay, so let's just get right to it. This is probably the question you've been wondering about. You hear these terms, AI, machine learning, AGI, thrown around all the time, sometimes like they mean the same thing. But here's the deal, they don't. And understanding the difference between them is absolutely key to getting a real grasp on the incredible power, the amazing potential, and yeah, even the risks of this technology. To really get this right, we've got to start with the absolute basics. Think of it like we're building something with Legos. We have to start with the biggest, most fundamental block, and then we can get more and more detailed from there. So first up, let's talk about artificial intelligence itself. This is the big one, the giant umbrella term that covers everything else. Seriously, if a computer is doing anything that would normally take a bit of human brain power, like, say, recognizing your face in a photo, understanding what you're saying, or making a strategic move in a game, it falls under this huge banner of AI. Now, let's get a little more specific. Nestled inside that giant AI umbrella, you'll find machine learning. And this is where things get really interesting. Instead of a programmer writing out explicit step-by-step rules for every little thing, you basically give the machine a ton of data and let it learn the patterns for itself. It actually gets better at a task the more experience or, the more data it gets. And if we zoom in one level deeper, we hit deep learning. This is a really powerful kind of machine learning that uses something called neural networks, which are, believe it or not, loosely inspired by the wiring of the human brain. This is the engine that's driving so many of the mind-blowing AI breakthroughs we're seeing today, from self-driving cars to those chatbots that sound shockingly human. Okay, so that's the theory. But what does all this actually look like out in the real world? Let's check out a case where this tech is being used to solve a deeply, deeply human problem. This quote, it really highlights such a difficult and sensitive problem. Talking about end-of-life care is one of the most important conversations a person can have. But so often it happens way too late, or sometimes it doesn't happen at all. And that causes so much pain and stress for patients, for their families, and even for the doctors themselves. It's fundamentally a problem of timing and communication. And this is where the Healthcare AI Applied Research team at Stanford, they call it EA3ART, comes in. They looked at this incredibly tough situation, and they didn't see an unsolvable problem. They saw a challenge where AI could genuinely help, not to replace the doctors, but to give them a tool to do their jobs even better. What's so powerful here is their approach. Notice how it didn't start with the technology. It started with the patient. They brought everyone to the table, doctors, nurses, data scientists, even ethicists. That's so critical, because they knew that even the most brilliant AI tool is completely useless if doctors don't trust it or if it doesn't fit into their real-world workflow. So only after they figured out the human element did they build an AI model to help doctors spot which patients would benefit most from having these crucial conversations sooner rather than later. But for every amazing positive use of a technology, there's always a flip side. The very same kind of tech that can help save lives can also be turned into a weapon in the wrong hands. So let's totally switch gears and take a look at the darker side of AI. I mean, come on, this sounds like something straight out of a Mission Impossible movie, right? But this is a real headline from a real case, and it shows just how sophisticated financial crime has become. The weapon here wasn't a gun, it was a piece of code. $35 million. Just let that number sink in. That's how much money was stolen. It all happened because a bank manager got a call from someone he was 100% sure was his company's director. The voice was a perfect match, the request was urgent, and it was all a complete fabrication. And here's the kicker. Here's how they did it. The criminals used AI-powered voice cloning technology to create a perfect, seamless imitation of the director's voice. This wasn't just some clever impersonation. This was high-tech deception powered by deep learning. This kind of voice cloning is part of a much bigger and, frankly, scarier category of AI creations known as deepfakes. We're talking about hyper-realistic but totally fake videos, images, or audio clips. For fraudsters, this is a whole new toolbox. It lets them bypass security and, more dangerously, it lets them exploit the most vulnerable system of all, human trust. So, up to this point, we've been talking about what AI can do today. Both the good and the bad examples fall under what's called narrow AI, systems that are designed for one very specific job. But there's a theoretical next step on the horizon that could change literally everything. It's called artificial general intelligence, or AGI. The difference between the AI we have now and AGI is, well, it's night and day. Today's AI is a total specialist. It can be the world's best chess player, but it can't use that skill to, say, make you a cup of coffee. AGI, on the other hand, would be a generalist. It could learn, reason, and adapt across pretty much any intellectual task a human can. It wouldn't just be following rules from a dataset, it would learn from experience, just like we do. It's the difference between a tool and a true thinking partner. So, making that leap from a narrow, specialized AI to a general one, that's not just some technical upgrade. It's a fundamental shift for humanity, and it comes with both incredible, mind-boggling promise and profound, serious risk. I mean, on the one hand, just think about the potential good. An AGI could speed up scientific discovery in ways we can't even fathom right now. It could help us solve huge global problems like climate change or poverty, things that have stumped us for centuries. The upside is almost unimaginable. But the dangers are just as big. We would have to face massive job displacement, the very real possibility of losing control over systems that are way, way smarter than we are, and these huge philosophical questions that, frankly, we are not ready to answer. Like, if an AGI becomes conscious, what are our responsibilities to it? The stakes just couldn't be any higher. And that's exactly why the entire conversation around AI is shifting. It's becoming all about safety and ethics. Groups like the UK's AI Safety Institute aren't just an afterthought. They're being created because everyone is realizing that making sure we can control these future systems and align them with human values is the single most important challenge we face. So we end on this massive question. AGI has the potential to unlock this unbelievable future of progress, but it also forces us to face the very real limits of our own wisdom and control. Whether it ends up being our greatest triumph or an irreversible mistake, that all depends on the choices we are making right now.